This is going to be the first of a series, and it's going to be a different kind of series than I've done so far. This is much more like something from Night's Watch or Disparu or The Sword and the Pen. I'm going to go through each episode of the Amazon show House of David. So why have I chosen this to be the show I go through in this unconventional for me manner? Many reasons, really. First off, the biblical story of David it's very important to me. As a small child, like 3 or 4 years old, my family had a VHS of Hanna-Barbera's David and Goliath from their Greatest Adventure series. It actually holds up surprisingly well, and if you see the cast list of this cartoon Bible series, it's kind of crazy. Rob Paulson, Tim Curry plays Satan, Tony Jay, Helen Hunt, Dean Jones, James Earl Jones.
No relation.
Ed Asner, Robbie Benson, he voiced the Beast, if you don't recognize that name. Jeffrey Tambor and Vincent Price were all in this series. Anyway, that video is the first story that I remember loving. My mom had this super smooth egg-shaped rock that she got from Crater Lake in Oregon, and I would put that rock into a sock, and I would walk around the house like swinging it around my head like David's sling. I got away with this because it was the 90s, and it was awesome. And my parents were awesome, too. So I have aged, and I am very well aware of David's flaws as a person. There are many, but he's always had a special place in my heart because of that starting point. And honestly, his life is one of the most exciting narratives in the Bible. For a long time, I've actually considered the idea of adapting his life into a fantasy series for a novel or maybe even a series of novels. I would really need to figure out the best way to handle the whole polygamy thing, though, because it's a pretty major plot point. But not easy to get a modern audience on board with. Except for Wheel of Time fans. So because of that personal history and that emotional connection, I want this series to do well and be done well. Second reason is it's not really being talked about on YouTube that much, and I am a staunch capitalist, and one of the first rules of capitalism is find a need and fill it. So let's do this. Third, those that are talking about it on YouTube are almost all from the perspective of biblical accuracy. And while I do find that to be very important, I want to talk about the show on its artistic merits. I will critique if it goes too far theologically, but I'm pretty easy to please there as far as the Old Testament is concerned. Don't mock God, don't undervalue God, don't take God out of the narrative, and don't ruin the characters in a way that they didn't ruin themselves. I believe that this is a story being made by believers, so their desire is to do justice to the story, and far too many Christians complain about things like this based on it being 100% accurate with nothing added or taken away, and what the message is. Judging Christian media from that perspective is what has given us most of the crap that Christian entertainment has just foisted upon us over the years. There have been some bright spots. C.S. Lewis, Christian radio from 1995 to 2000, VeggieTales, underground Christian music from 2000 to 2005, the David Crowder Band, Charlie Hall, early Chris Tomlin. The list is real short. Too many people this kind of thing is marketed to either never give a rat's hiney about quality, or they just suddenly don't if it's a Bible thing because they just feel like they have to accept it on moral grounds. So because of that, most Christian movies are not worth talking about. The acting is bad, the directing is bad, the score is bad, the cinematography is bad, the sound is bad, the editing is fine usually, the writing is horrible most of the time. And when everything is bad, and it's not popular or even expected to be decent, what's the point of ripping it to shreds? In fact, most of the best Christian media would never appear in a Christian bookstore. I know of more people who have turned to God after reading Crime and Punishment than any book other than the Bible. And Crime and Punishment is about a man who kills two elderly women with an axe, and then a prostitute brings him to God. Two of the best, most Christian movies I've ever seen are Dead Man Walking and To End All Wars, and they both have a hard R rating. But, spoiler alert, so far, this show is actually pretty good. The writing is good, the acting is good to great. The cinematography is occasionally creative, the music is good. I am shocked. Yes, I have complaints. I am me. and I will bring those up. But I want to point out that this is a good show, dadgummit, and that believers, I'm saying believers instead of Christians because I imagine this is one that Jews would be interested in as well, and we're generally on the same page at this point of the Bible, can watch it without guilt so far, and non-believers so far will actually enjoy it too. I feel like these creators generally want this series to be good from an artistic and creative perspective. And because of that, I think that they deserve to be reviewed like one. Most serious critics, even believers, will write this show off because it is a Bible show. I'm not a serious critic. I am a guy inside of a side closet in his house that we used as a bedroom nursery, recording off of a single cheap microphone and using the camera from my laptop. But I'm going to do my part to treat these people like adults rather than the Sunday school teacher's assistants with a VHS camera we've been subjected to for decades. I might have some pent-up frustration here. All of that being said, let's dive into episode 1. Be funny if they started putting that in front of historical dramas, like all of them.
Can one stone change the course of history?
It's a beautifully smooth rock.
Samuel anointed Saul.
So far, so good.
But for 25 years, Saul has reigned. As Saul's arrogance grows, the people of Israel trust more in a throne than in their God.
So these are actually clips from later points inside the series, so this is an odd choice. There are many battles from the Philistines. It's almost like a sport. So generally the effect of Goliath looks really good. There's one scene or shot inside of a later episode that it's questionable as to its efficacy, but usually it looks really good, especially considering the last time I saw an adaptation of David and Goliath, it was couldn't even tell you, it was probably on TVN or something, and like the way that they tried to make him look bigger was he and David were standing on rocks separated from it. Honestly looked like they were on like a small mountain, the way that the rock shape was, because it was all one big rock, and David was on a shorter point than Goliath. It was like, what? They looked like if you were to put them next to each other, they were actually the same height. I have no idea what was happening there. But Goliath looks pretty good for the most part inside this.
How many days must we do this? Cowards! All of you!
God, give me this ground.
I asked for a champion! You come against me with a stick?
Guess that's a really good shot. I like it when actual care is taken to where to place the camera. I'm pretty sure that that's actually outside, so they had to wait for the sun to be in the right spot and all that stuff. So this actually take work. It was probably a blue screen to get the armies or a digital effect for that, but as far as David's running and everything, I mean that had to have been outside, I believe, because of how bright it is, and it's a beautiful shot. Again, really pretty shot.
Again, I ask this question. Can one stone change the course of history?
Alright, so I don't really care for that opening. Like I said, there's several really pretty shots in it, but I don't really like the opening for one reason I'll tell you later, but the other one is I don't like that they cut David's trash talking that's in the Bible. It's about to flash back to months before, so it's possible when they show the scene again that you will get his basically telling Goliath, yeah, I'm small, but God's fighting for me, so you're about to die. There is another issue with the scene from a storytelling aspect that will come up later.